And
Peace, my people. It's been a whole week since we last saw you.
too long.
SoundMinds Sunday. Yeah, way too long. You know what I mean? Those 6 days in between and all the way to the seventh day, way too long to get back to our people. I am LiteSkin, LiteSkin, stands for for living it through every situation known in nature. And I pass it all to my partner, the one, the only, the king.
King Ra, aka King Ra Shaman, aka PUP. Man, we are back again, man. Listen, this is week 3, episode 3, and we just building. And this week, we bring in another deep topic that we need your engagement with. All right? So there's a question on the table. And we're going to get into the question, and it has to do with what's going on today, which is what everybody is suffering from, which is this quarantine. You know, some states are starting to open back up, but at the same time, we just went through 3 months of lockdown. You know what I'm saying? Lockdown in the crib, can't do shows or anything that has to do with your vision. That has to do with your vision and how you planned on launching something for 2020 and you, or now you had to, what is it? We want to know. So let's get into that.
Right. So for the most part, the whole, as we set you up since Wednesdays we'll be dropping the topics. This topic is vision.
Yes.
And has the quarantine affected you, and how so? Right. I know a lot of people, and granted, we're now currently in May. I know when the year's about to hit, a lot of people like, this is my year. I know 2020 was everybody's year. December 31st of of last year. And everybody said how they were going to kill this year and do what they do. And, we got hit with this, right? But at the same time, let this be sort of a lesson and somewhat of a plateau for us to kind of see things through when we say that we have a vision and this is what we're doing. But then you get hit with challenges and adversities. And what does that mean in regards to your vision? What does that mean in regards to how you're carrying it out, right? And also, due to the fact that this is Hip Hop Appreciation Week and this is the last day of it. So for 2020, May 17 to May 24th, which is today, the theme was vision. So we said, this is perfect. It perfectly aligns with what we're doing and it perfectly aligns with the topic. So let's just tie it all in. Since we so hip hop oriented, let's just bring it all in and put it all in our bag of soup and our bowl of soup.
Yes, most def. And with that being said, you just heard the topic. You see what's on the table. I need you to hit that like button. I need you to share this podcast to everybody you know right now, because we need y'all answers. We want to know what's going on out there, what's been going on. Like, we want to know where you from too. So if you can, in the chat, also let us know where you from. You know what I mean? Let's put in those states. We gonna start doing roll calls very soon. I'm telling you. We like, where you at?
Right.
Doing roll calls. Because we want the engagement. This is definitely an engagement podcast, So there you go. Make sure you hit that like button, share it right now. And if you watching it on a replay, leave a comment. Let us know, how has this quarantine affected you? How? It could be negative, it could be positive. We want to know. Everybody had to make adjustments. I tell you that right now.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go.
And I also I just went live. I'm gonna try going live. Never did live before on IG. So if anybody sees me on IG, jump on to the YouTube channel. I'm gonna try it for a second. But also, we want to let you know that as we go on, the show is gonna get that much stronger, and it's also gonna, and for the most part, it's gonna get stronger based off of the engagement of the audience. We want y'all to be a part of the show as much as we are a part of the show. We want to be able to be accessible. We want to be able for you to connect with us. And whenever you need anything that you need kind of spoken about, we want to be that conduit or that voice for y'all. So there's a couple of things that me and King Ra, and when Self-Suffice gets on, we're gonna speak about that as well. Some new things we're gonna roll out. Speaking of roll calls, speaking of other things that we're gonna do that is gonna fully engage not only the three of us, not only Sound Minds, the family, but as well as everybody else and encompass all of us all together.
Hit that subscribe button. Subscribe now. Subscribe now. Subscribe now. Just like it say at the bottom. Oh man. So, peace, my brother LiteSkin.
Peace, peace,
I,
peace.
I I
Positive
need I
energy
need you
always
to talk
causes
to
elevation.
I need you to talk to the family out here. You know what I mean?
Okay.
There's been we have really been in a quarantine, a lockdown where
Yes.
people
Yes.
haven't been able to go to work. You know, the
Mm-hmm.
unemployment rate is at the high or the all time high. You know what I mean? We don't need to get
Right.
into the numbers and statistics. We ain't that ain't that type of podcast. But
Right.
we
Right.
know how bad it is and we know what adjustments needed to be made. And I want to know from your perspective,
Mm-hmm.
what have you seen, not only just in your life, but
Right.
in if out there, from either research or coming across something like what's your perspective of how the quarantine has affected the people and you?
Right. So great question. So I will say that the quarantine has definitely left its mark, right? Whether positive or negative, we have definitely been locked down. We all know the effects of what it feels like, even if you've never been locked in a penitentiary,
Yep.
you kind of have an idea of what it feels like to, at the smallest level, of course. But it has affected a lot of people. And from what I've seen, a lot of people have lost their desire. A lot of people have lost their motivations. A lot of people have felt that their dreams have been paused, and rightfully so for many who have lost loved ones. That is the major factor, right?
Yep.
Spirits being affected. Um, and then there are others who have risen to the occasion and said, okay, cool, here it is. What I've always said that I didn't have, which was time, I have time now. So if I ever wanted to get something off the ground, right, grassroots or whatever it is, I have time to do that because I don't have to worry about, and we're still working. Me, myself, I'm working remotely. A lot of people working remotely or even going to work, but hours have changed, things have changed, traffic is not the same, so on and so forth. But so from what I've seen from my experience, there have been many who have been affected negatively and then there are many who have said, let me take this negative and turn it into a triumph as best as I could. One of the main kind of things that I've seen is this podcast right here. You know what I mean? Sound Minds Sunday.
Yep.
Sound Minds give you a brief history as we always do. Sound Minds has been rocking for over 20 plus years. But we never really did things as we doing them now in regards to even, we just rolled out the logo for Sound Minds. We're working on the website for Sound Minds, putting a podcast and putting a platform and a stage where we're doing it differently. When we used to do the open mics and the MC battles and all the performances, that's one level, but now we're turning it to a different level. Now we have strong members such as my brother Ra, who, is Rashaman is now a key member of Sound Minds and doing things. So I think, honestly speaking, it has hurt many, it has helped many, and I think at the end of the day, one of the things that I would love for it to one of the things I would love for me to see from it is that we come together in unison, all of us. Those who need the help get help by those who don't need the help, and those who don't necessarily need the help kind of get the support that they need from all around so that we can become stronger from this rather than get weaker. So what's been your experience? What have you noticed?
Well, first and foremost, let's give a shout out to Let's Talk Crazy podcast in the building, man.
Hey, my brother Shice,
Yes,
the
yes,
voice of
yes.
Brooklyn in the world.
Saying he said it best, man. Facts support the real. You gotta support the real. And then before we even go
Right.
further, let's bring our brother in. The trio now is in full effect. We got our
Oh,
brother
let's go.
rap poet, self-suffice.
Let's go. The Trinity.
Salmon.
Sound Minds, brother. Sound Minds.
Sound
Salute.
Yeah.
minds.
So, and you know what's crazy? We shouted out Let's Talk Crazy podcast, right?
Right.
That's my brother Shice, and I know Shice for a little bit now. You know what I'm saying? And the way he move and motivates is
Yes.
an inspiration. I just got to put that out there. So thank you, brother. But
Word.
this Let's Talk Crazy podcast actually has come as something that's brand new. You know what I mean? And he's doing this with somebody else when he has other ventures and other things that he's doing. So I'm pretty sure he could definitely speak upon how this quarantine has kind of like changed for the better or the worse. You know what I mean? My brother was on he was on cruises doing shows
Mm.
and hosting on shows for almost 6 months, if not 6 months, if not more. And I can only imagine how that during the quarantine, where you're talking about a virus that's affected so many, where now
Mm.
your money's affected through that aspect. You know what I mean? It doesn't stop you from doing other things. So here it is. He got Let's Talk podcast, which I need to check out. They just did a dope interview with Amadeus. They did a dope interview with Strang Wonder, you know what I mean, from BCC. So shout out to my brother, but definitely, man, I think that
Amadeus
that's
a dope producer too.
he definitely is. His resume speaks volumes. You know what
It's
I mean?
funny because
So
that's one of my phrases that I love to say. Like whenever people are talking and saying some truth, that
mhm,
like they looking both ways before they cross their words. That's what I tell them. I say
right,
talk crazy. That's what I like to say to encourage people. Talk crazy, manifest
right.
that. So I love that name. So that's like a collaboration right there. That's
hmm
someone who might speak to our podcast. We might speak to their podcast.
A
Most
thousand
definitely.
percent, a thousand percent. So Ken Rashaman, how have you? What have you noticed? What have you experienced through this?
Wow. So, overall perspective, before I'll go overall, then break it down. You know, I see a lot of family. Yo, I see a lot of family. Yo, like, you know, more families are walking with their children. You know what I mean? More families are
hmm
going out to the park, or any available space that they have to now
Wow,
just spend this time that they have. In
beautiful.
quarantine.
Right.
Um, I see the inspiration is being created in people that's now saying, okay, what do I do now? Or
hmm
like,
hmm
Mm.
it's like, what can I do now? It's like it's so much more we can do now. Now that we're home,
Mm.
you just realize that things that I was doing 3 months ago, I guess I didn't really need to be doing that much. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just
hmm
went 3 months without having to do it. Like, what do I do now? So I've seen
Right.
alternatives, and I've seen a lot more peace come about it, within households. You know what I'm saying? I really do.
hmm
Right.
I've seen that, just like with my own in my own small universe. But at the
Right.
same time, I also step back and I take into account the other than just what's being told that we're locked down and there's a quarantine and the coronavirus is going on. There's
Mm-hmm.
also so much other stuff going on in the world that
Yeah.
you got a chance to step back and look into too. You know what I mean?
hmm
Other than
Did,
hmm
did you see the
find
new United States flag of outer space that Trump just unveiled that literally looked like a Star Trek flag?
Nah,
no.
he's unveiling
Bro,
things. It's like a Marvel movie now.
bro, when they unveiled like how they have the Air Force, the Marines, and Navy, he
Right.
just appointed the director of the now outer space unit of the military, right? Just on the low.
Crazy.
Yeah.
hmm
And they unveiling the flag. I fell off my chair, bro. It had the
hmm
Star Trek symbol. I said, did they just unveil an actual department of the government with a Star Trek flag? You know the one,
It's crazy.
the
Yeah, yeah,
round,
yeah,
Wow.
the
yeah, yeah.
round Delta triangle thing where
Right,
beam me
right,
up,
right, right,
Scotty.
right.
We
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
literally
yeah,
got
yeah,
a
yeah.
Earth with that on the front. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you
yeah,
know
a
what's
lot of a
crazy?
lot of different news coming up.
It's crazy that you say that, right? And
Yeah.
and Rob, not to cut your
That's the
wisdom, it's funny.
positive side. That is the positive side.
Right,
Now,
right.
just heads up. That ain't at all, but that's the
It's
positive. Cause
and that's the
there's
wild thing, like the
Right.
universal meaning of vision, right? So Self just spoke about what's being unveiled. There's a lot of things going on while we are in quarantine, right? So I'm not going to get into the politics of things whenever
yeah,
if whoever wants to, I'm here for that too. But this podcast, we are keeping it neutralized, right? But at the
Right.
same time, when we speak vision, how ironic is it that so much is being done while we are inside, right? But what the funny thing is while we speak vision, we can also speak blind vision, where our
Wow.
vision is being blinded so that other things can happen while we are quarantined inside. And again,
Right.
I'm not gonna get too crazy. But
Talk
whenever
to
you
him.
want to,
Talk to him.
yeah,
Talk
yeah,
to
yeah.
him.
So
Look, man. This is you gotta. This is
yeah,
where the voices need to
sometimes
be
you gotta let it
heard. The
go, right?
mind, the
Right.
sound of the mind, and the frequency that
Right.
needs to come out needs to be an output. Talk to him.
Yeah. So what I will say is, we gonna keep in topic for now, right? Um, so I will say that due to the fact that and this is where I think kind of like things have kind of like been affecting, right? Or effective or affecting us in the sense that we are affected by us not necessarily being able to see everything that's going on, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's expected for us to be weaker or get weaker as a people. And I think, honestly speaking, when we put our visions and our plots together and say, now we're going to get stronger,
Yep.
this is where you get, uh, you get a Sound Mind Sundays, or you get a
Yes.
Let's Talk
You got
Crazy
a little bit more
podcast, or you,
unity, baby. A
there you
lot more
go.
unity.
There you go.
I
So,
mean,
See?
and not to cut your wisdom. Speaking of
yeah.
unity, I've even been on, weekly calls, with a
Mm-hmm.
nonprofit organization that I work with, call for unity. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean. We've came together now. Weekly calls, banging them out, strategizing, planning, things of that nature. Like it's exactly what you're saying. We've seen more unity.
Exactly.
Word.
Exactly. So, how about
See,
you, Self?
let's
What you
talk crazy said the same thing. He
Yeah.
said, we've lost lives, this tragedy, but also it's helped us find and explore things we didn't know we could do. You
Talk
know
to
what I'm
me.
saying?
1,000%. 1,000%. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes.
How about you, brother? How about you, Self? What have you experienced? What have you noticed through this quarantine? What have you seen in regards to those around you, you and yourself, us, whatever? What you've been experiencing?
Wow, so much, yo. I mean, first of all, I think I noticed to appreciate things that are happening
Yep.
that you don't see with your external eyes.
Mm.
And a lot of times when you are distracted with your external eyes, you don't see that you have a vision that is coming true. And
Mm-hmm.
I always have this thing come up where, like, when we're mentoring
Right.
people, whether it's our students, whether it's our children, or just the young dudes that look up to us and ask for advice, this one thing that always comes up is people want something to happen around them. And all three of us are
Mm-hmm.
familiar with this, where we're often like, okay, like, you don't want to directly diss somebody because you see with more experience in them, right? Like, you see in a few dimensions ahead, you can see what they could do more than them sometimes. But you be like, oh, did you see that right there though? Or like, oh, let me connect you to this person, but like, there's this spot right here where you could go to get that. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
like way more common than trying to find opportunity. I find is people that have the next step in front of them and are stuck in being the person that doesn't have opportunity. So
Right.
they don't reach out and do the thing. And I think I've
Right.
been doing better with that during quarantine. Like, it's actually helped me not be so distracted with day-to-day things to be like, oh, I still have this vision. My income level is this. That's my goal. How am I getting close to that? And then bam, seeing
Mm-hmm.
these opportunities come up instead of being like, oh, I didn't see that email or I didn't see this, I don't know that. Being like, oh yeah, that's there. Let me look through my emails. Let me look through my connections. I bet there's an opportunity here. Exactly what y'all both said about the family life too. Both having these uncomfortable conversations and even some arguments and like just because now I got a teenager, you know what I'm saying? So like having
Mm-hmm.
some
Mm-hmm.
inappropriate things and crossing the line to be like, look, we need to have some uncomfortable talks because it's that age now. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That
Right.
has led to more trust and honesty. You can't build trust It's like two battle MCs. Like you're not gonna build trust by just being polite all the time and never seeing somebody like get to spaz. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not gonna be your friend just because we never talk about politics or we never seen each other like get mad or fail on the way to success. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I've seen that. I think, like you were saying, I had seen a lot more older couples walking together,
Yep.
even biking together. And they like, whenever I see older couples, those are my stars. You know what I mean? Those are like
Mm-hmm.
my future selves. So I pay the utmost respect and like salute to them because
Right.
we
Right.
we talking about it. You know what I'm saying? They
Mm-hmm.
visually,
They've done it. Yeah.
They living it.
and you
Yeah.
seeing them out there like, look, we doing it. So yeah, I would say in my personal goal setting, like it's helped it get stronger. Like my
Mm-hmm.
morning routine is stronger than ever. My meditation, my physical fitness, wake up, get 2 glasses of water, my fasting, um, the things that I set out to do before started, like get going more vegan. I'm still eating a little bit of eggs and fish every other
Mm-hmm.
day, something like that. But like everything's just like it's less dramatic. It's less trying to prove it to other people and
Right.
more
You're
like
just in
see
there doing it.
Right. Right.
in
Mm.
there doing it, getting
And
concrete in the mindset.
it's all about time, right? Everything kind of builds on time. Which, funny enough, I put up a flyer that we did some 20 years ago, and the
Yeah,
theme of it
that
was
was fire.
the inner mind's
That
eye,
was
right?
fire.
Time. So,
Woo.
and we was putting that up way before others started using it as album. But
Wait, hold
so
on. Make sure they understand the acronym, bro, before you gloss over, because a lot of people ain't getting that acronym.
time was the inner mind's eye, right? So when you have time, a lot of times as us being humans, naturally
TIME.
speaking, right? A lot of us will say, no, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to, it's crazy. Like Rashama was talking about and Self started speaking about in regards to family, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people say, I don't have time to play with my kids because I'm always working. I don't have time to spend time with my significant other, my wife or my husband or whatever it is, because I'm always doing something else.
Right.
Now you butt time, the inner mind's eye. Now you're seeing things with a vision rather than your outer vision. So when you looking at things and not just the television, which it's a whole different conversation of lies and things, right? But when you seeing things with your inner mind's eye, now you have the time to be able to do things that you saw before. So if your child doesn't know how to play chess or your child doesn't know how to, me and my daughters for the most part, like
Woo.
I've been putting my daughters up on different things, whether it be Nightmare on Elm Street movies or music or different things to sit there and say, oh, let's do this because now we got the time.
Right.
And then, for the most part, it's about building the foundation to stronger strengths that you never imagined before. Because truth of the matter is, as we are locked in, if you're locked in with loved ones, and I said this before, if you're locked in with loved ones and your relationship doesn't get stronger, then you need to question why you're in that relationship. Because truth of the matter is, no matter who the relationship is, whether it be a cousin, brother, friend, um, acquaintance, whatever it is, if you're locked in with somebody and you have all this time to build stronger within your strength, and it's not happening, you're getting weaker or you're beefing, or we all gonna beef. We're always gonna have that back and forth, right? But you need to get stronger as a people. We need to get stronger as a unit all together, right? The
I
inner
gotta
mind's
build
eye.
up that, yo. I gotta build up that
And
because
we got to
in the
continue to
midst
build up
of
that.
the inner mind's eye and time,
Right.
how strong is your commitment to what you've seen before and what you can excuse versus what is in your inner mind's eye?
Right.
When is going to be the time? Because we know that time is existing, right? It might
Mm-hmm.
not have been when you were 3. It might not have been when you were 23. When is that time? When you going
Mm-hmm.
to connect to that inner mind's eye and say, this is the time? Now, there's a dude named Ingo Swann, right? They always talk about the CIA and the psychic experiments or whatever, right? And
Right.
supposedly they shut these experiments down after the Cold War, right?
Right.
The government, the CIA is no longer interested in understanding ESP and psychic abilities after the Cold War.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's strange. But anyway, this dude Ingo Swann was like the best known dude to do it, right? And one
Right.
of the reasons they verified it and gave all these millions of dollars for years by the CIA when it was officially running was because he went in and read names off some documents. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That was like
Mm-hmm.
secret government documents. So he was like, okay, I went to this space, I looked in there, whatever. But the other thing was that when you talk about time in the mind's eye, right? They had him on one trip once where I think he was on the moon or something. He was looking
Mm-hmm.
around and he noticed some kind of living something, right?
Right.
But somebody noticed him. And that's when they were like, shut it down. Because
Mm-hmm.
when you
Mm-hmm.
think about actually projecting or putting yourself and visualizing your goals, a lot of times we think it's a one-way thing. You know what I mean? You're
Right.
just testing out. But when you really get deep into it like they did, to the point where other people could sense there's a presence there watching them, you're literally putting yourself, your consciousness in that time and space, just like we're putting our time and consciousness in this conversation, even
Mm-hmm.
though you in one city, I'm in one city, you in another city, we could sense each other, right? When you
Right.
could do that
Right.
without using phones to that ability, they don't want you to know about that. So my
Right.
point is this, that's an extreme example, but why would you wait for someone else who's like a doctor or a government or some authority to tell
Mm-hmm.
you when to know when is the time to do the things that you're wondering if you feel so passionate that you could do with your
Right.
own mind and your own life. Why would you wait for them to tell you when it might actually be threatening
Mm-hmm.
for you to know what you can do with your power?
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Sean Carter. This is the time people should come together because it's definitely helped me become closer with my family. Even if it's
Word.
just
Mm.
a phone call, I definitely don't take it for granted no more.
Facts.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to my man Sean Carter, man. Well, and that's the truth. Like, where does it start, right? Like you talking about self. When do we decide we need to move? You know what I'm saying? And it all starts with the vision. It all starts with you being able to see first before you can carry out a plan. And this is why we decided that this needed to be, especially during Hip Hop Appreciation Week, being the last day, being the theme of vision. We need to kind of speak on it to kind of give some people a little spark or a little jolt. Like, here, man, you need the spark. Here it is. You have the time now. And truth of the matter is, as Rasham was talking about in the beginning, things are getting lifted, right? We are supposedly opening up real soon, or we're talking about it, or we're tampering with the idea.
Yep.
Once we go back to what supposed normal is, right?
Mm.
Then what? Then what happened? Because you had all this time. You had all this time to get better in shape, eat better, spend time with your loved ones, do things that you weren't doing before, like Sean Carter was talking about, making a simple phone call.
Yep.
We got so disconnected from our human selves simply by being on phones and texting quick messages on the LOLs and the BRBs and all that, to the point where if somebody needs to speak to you, we don't speak no more. We
Right.
have disconnected, right? So, with that being said, this was the proper time to kind of like readjust rather, and say, let me reset the button and let me get into what it is that I need to do. So, with that being said,
And
one of the
according,
comments that I had,
oh yeah, go ahead.
um, my fault, go ahead, bro.
I was gonna say, according to what you do see on the internet and some of the reports that's coming back on some of the states that has partially opened up, partially only meaning that people could come outside. Like it
Mm-hmm.
ain't really, or you know what I mean. That don't mean like people could go back to work and everybody got back to their
Mm-hmm.
regular day schedule, which
Right.
only just shows us that people that's coming outside, they coming out together, man. They coming out flooding the parking lots, they flooding some of the beaches. They flooding the clubs. They out. Everybody's
Mm-hmm.
enjoying time now with together that they was just
Mm-hmm.
wrapped up spending in the last 3 months inside. Now they like, hey, let's continue this, man. Are we in a new chapter of our relationship? A lot
Yeah.
of
I
people
saw a
are in new
woman that was
chapters of
fully.
relationships.
Yep.
This
Yep.
woman must have been 9 months pregnant today. At the what we went to the waterfall. You know, y'all know it's my birthday, my son's second day after his birthday. So
Mm-hmm.
it
Shout out
was
to the
one
young
night
king.
that we went to waterfall. Thank you, bro. And we saw this woman that was definitely 9 months pregnant. They had balloons for her, like it was clearly like a
Mm-hmm.
baby shower type thing happening. And I saluted her, like my whole family had to salute her, and she was smiling. But it was like you could tell they were trying to bring that baby in that energy. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
Yeah.
right,
They
right,
wasn't trying to
right,
get consumed by the other type of energy. And
Yeah.
at the
right.
same time, because everything we saying is balanced, like I look at some statistics today. You know what I mean? I'm not talking based off opinion, whatever. It's clear that black people are suffering the most from corona, the most adverse effects. The people who in their neighborhoods are closest to the chemical plants. There's this
Mm-hmm.
one area in Louisiana I was looking at. But like the places where there's environmental racism still to this day, who do you
Mm-hmm.
think's being affected most by the COVID? You know what I'm
Of
saying?
course, of course.
And even in places where it's like 52% white, 48% black people and Latino people in that area,
Mm-hmm.
why is it like 80% of those suffering as black people in those
Yeah.
areas? Because their houses and their services are closer to the chemical treatments and all that. So I still want to tell people to be aware that the regular parts of society and how
Mm-hmm.
it functions, um, they're still out there.
Mhm.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
right, right. Yeah, I think it's important. I think more so too while things are opening up. Um, the topic is vision, but I need to say that we also need to say at the same time, please, getting off of quarantine, please don't go crazy. Because
No.
as Self is talking about, when a people is affected more than others, please do not use this time to say, all right, cool, we're back out. Now we can go play in recess and get sick and lose more loved ones. Please be wary of the quickness or the haste in certain decision making, especially when a people is being affected more than others. So I just want to put that out there. Um,
Oh, that's a
we
fact.
had a comment on one of the posts on IG. Again, you can follow us. We are Sound Minds. We are also separate and unison, but we still move the same way. So my IG is real LiteSkin 123
Find me at. There you
REALLITESKIN
go.
123.
Hey,
There
you
you
said
go.
it too fast. You gotta slow it
Yeah,
back down
yeah,
again. Slow it
yeah.
down. Slow it down.
So go ahead, Rob. Put your handle out there too, brother.
Oh, at King underscore Ra Shaman. That's RASHAMAN.
Yes, Self.
Rap
Oh,
poet is
thank you.
muted.
He muted.
My bad.
Oh, there you go.
Rap poet, Rapoet, rap poet,
There you go.
Rapoet.
Dope,
Yes.
dope. So that's
Hit
all
that like
Instagram.
button. Hit that like button. Hit that like
Please,
button.
yes.
Make sure you
Subscribe, share.
subscribe and share. You know what I
Yes.
mean? We not done
So the
yet, but we just gotta
no,
remind
not
y'all
at
real
all.
quick. Yeah, we gotta remind y'all. Cause
So
look,
one
I
of the
mean,
things.
everything that we just dropped, I mean, think about that. We showing y'all a balance in this in within this quarantine. You know, a balance
Mm-hmm.
that a balance effect. Not the quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's a balance effect. You know,
Right.
things are balancing out. You know, because it was stretched out as far as in time, but now we're bringing back to here, and we and with
Mm-hmm.
and now we're adjusting to that.
I got another one. Since we're talking balance, right? A lot of things are happening in health advances, and I don't mean drugs, by the way. We've
Right.
actually
Right.
gotten to a spot where drugs have like advanced us a certain amount, but we're also
Mm-hmm.
seeing how drugs is like destroying our gut biomes and stuff like that. So now people's learning more about what was already here, indigenous
Right.
populations having these antioxidants and these healthy ways of living, and being like, oh, that's the new thing, but it's the old thing. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Mm-hmm.
now accepted in our places, right? So the
Mhm.
Right.
paradox is okay, we living longer, but what's the balance? Are you gonna live longer in a dysfunctional way?
Yep.
You see
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying?
Yep.
So like they even got this dude, look up the Horvath clock, Dr. Horvath, right? Because they've been
Mm-hmm.
experimenting. David Sinclair at Harvard, all these people been experimenting with fasting, shortening your telomeres, living longer, slowing down aging. But they've been doing this thing with the Horvath clock, bro. It's based on how the
Have you seen it?
internet works, right?
Have you
They
seen
send
it?
a signal to your
Okay.
DNA. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Where if
Right.
there's corrupt DNA, they saying, oh, now we're not just gonna make you prolong, we're gonna make you go back in time. We're gonna tell your
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
DNA that you're a year younger than
They
you
say
are.
reverse aging.
Reverse, not you. And
Reverse aging.
it's
That's
so much
crazy.
on people out of what
That's
people's
crazy.
vision is. That's why the inner vision has to be first.
Mm-hmm.
That even when you say reverse vision, reverse aging, like me and Paul trying to tell
Mm-hmm.
people, they think we mean, oh yeah, slowing down, saying young. No, we're
Right.
saying
Right.
going backwards in age, going
Mm-hmm.
backwards in your biological age, so that your body thinks if you're 30, you're 28 now, or 25,
Crazy.
and so
Yeah.
forth, right? Because
Crazy.
they already been slowing it down. My
Mm-hmm.
thing is this though: are you gonna be healthier? Not just because a lot of people say the paradox is live longer but live healthier. But what
Right.
about mentally,
Mm-hmm.
right? Even if you living longer and you are physically healthier, what about mentally? You gonna take another 50 years to not do the things that's your purpose that you've been scared
Right.
to pursue?
Yep.
When is the inner mind's eye?
Right. When does that open up? Yep. Yep.
If any time this was a great time to say, if I could live another 150, 200 years, what would I be doing versus making excuses that I don't have time to do? Because now you just
Exactly.
gonna look dumb.
Yep.
If you
Exactly.
now living for 500 years and you healthy and you physically set, how you gonna look if you never did that thing that you got a purpose to do on this planet?
Right. Right. And that's important, man. Right. You
It's
was gonna
time for
build
you
on
to.
that?
I think it's really time for you to look into that right now. And I'm speaking to the audience. You know what I mean? When you
Right.
watch this and you hear this, like it's time for you to look into that right now. And I'm seeing that around me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm literally
Mm-hmm.
seeing that around me. My queen is literally going through it right now,
Mm-hmm.
asking that specific question. Like, hold up. Like, what am I? What's my next? What's my next chapter? What's my next accomplishment? You know what I mean? What am I about to live for the next 10, 15,
Right.
20? What am you know what I mean? What's the next? I'm already successful in this spot. I'm already successful in this spot. I accomplished everything on this list. Dang, I ain't think I was gonna do it at 30. Wait, shoot. It's still so much
Mm-hmm.
more.
Mm-hmm.
We out of quarantine right now. We like, dang, like, hold up.
Yeah. It's a reset button. It's
I'm
a
out.
reset
It's
button.
it's a nice little reset button.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she a front liner at the same
That's
time.
crazy.
She a
That's crazy.
nurse.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? She
I
the
got
front
a
line.
I got a comment that was put on the IG. That's why I brought up the IG situation because we told y'all to kind of send in some of what you've been through. You know what I mean? Your vision is being affected. And we're going to be doing that. So whoever's watching and whenever you watch this, whether it be live or you catch the reruns, by all means, we're going to start engaging more of the audience, right? So one of the comments left on my post was, I believe the quarantine hasn't affected my vision. I feel it has made it sharper and clearer. It also confirmed I am happy where I am in this life. And it was just like I hit the reset button or the refresh button, right? So there you go. And this is from my man Al Bueno, first choice barbershop in the Lower East Side, runs his own business. So this is a businessman, an entrepreneur who
Yep.
opened up his own barbershop saying his life is noticed it through this is where it needs to be, and it's just kind of like a refresh button because
That fit
I
right
could only
in. That's
imagine being
set
a
right.
barbershop owner and you cutting it exactly,
That's set.
exactly.
Oh my
So
God,
and
that was the same exact thing. We just said the same thing.
it was
Look
like
at
a
that from
segue.
two different units. I'm saying you just said the
Hmm.
same thing from a comment that I was
Right,
just
right.
personally speaking about. That's crazy.
Hmm. And
That's
then I
crazy.
got another comment that said, I believe that this quarantine has really helped me to focus my energy in pursuing my vision and take the necessary steps to see my vision come to fruition. Has also allowed me to help others with their vision. We build together. That's
Nice.
deep. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
So here's two different comments, and there's various other people who got at me and told me kind of like the same thing. I also got the other end of it where it was just kind of like I'm affected spiritually. I feel attacked. But then there's others who said, nah, this is giving us an opportunity to build together. This is giving me an opportunity to see this is where I need to be within life. How do I now build a foundation, right? Because it's always about building. truth of the matter is, right, and we could bring up even the stimulus checks. A lot of people got stimulus checks and went and got the newest Jordans. If your stimulus check did not in any way, shape, or form allow you to pay off debt that you needed to pay off or put into an investment that you said, nah, I didn't have the extra money or I didn't have this. And I get it, especially now, it's hard to ask anybody to invest money on anything, right? Because we are living by the, damn, I don't know what this looks like in another month or so. Are we still quarantined? Do I still have my job? So on and so forth. What do I do to make more money? But at the same time, if you're not thinking in the sense of, let me better myself, and in a sense, right, alley-oop my future self, so that when my current self gets off of this situation, my future self will look back and say, thank you for even setting me up the way you have now. Because I guarantee you, if we can right now, the three of us and the world watching, if we can seriously go back in time, and even for the most part, 10 years, 5 years, 3 years ago, and kind of give those gems that we didn't know 3 years, 10 years, 5 years, or even when we was in high school, and say, nah, study this. This is what you're going to need when you get older. Nah, do this. This is what's going to help you get the finances that you need when you get older. So when you have children, you don't have to live check by check, right? So this is a time for you to figure it out. Furthermore, I've been pushing a lot of people to kind of further their passion, right? Figure out what your passion is. If you love singing, if you love doing art, if you are a writer, but you don't know how to find that publisher or publish yourself, self-publish you, right? If you don't know how to, I've been working on, I have these children's books that I've been working on trying to get out, right? And I need an artist for that. It's something that I thought would have been out a long time ago. And for a long period of time, I was discouraged off of the fact that I was like, damn, I got this and I wrote it with my daughter. Let me put it out. Now is the time for me to figure out, okay, cool. Now I got a time to invest my commitment into finding an artist, right? So with all that being said, while we are locked in, this is the time, and granted, again, no disrespect to anybody that's ever been locked down, locked in prison, but a lot of times, a lot of people who come home are diesel because they worked on themselves. And a lot of people are now.
I'm gonna just footnote. I got to footnote that statement. Like today, I'm driving back from the waterfall, getting ready for the podcast, having this great conversation. One of these things with my family where we have a deeper conversation than ever. The joint just pop up. The joint just pop up. My homie that I did, Supreme. Y'all both either heard of Supreme. You know what I mean? Like Supreme Alive, rather Supreme Alive Magnetic. He's locked out right now. I'm looking on my timeline. A new track with us just came out today. This dude ain't even home, and he's promoting, and it got like buttons, and it's like playing out Spotify here and there. I'm like, yo, this dude is making the inner mind's eye. He's literally inside a cell, literally.
Right,
but he's pursuing his passion. It's crazy to me.
And that's where kind of like, that's where, not the analogy, but the truth of when you get locked in, right? You locked down, and I'm not glorifying getting locked up. I'm not. What I'm saying is a lot of people that get locked up, they come back different based off of the fact that they had that time to self-reflect. When you in the streets and you a wild boy, you a wild person, you out there trying to do for the moment, right? You're doing everything momentarily based off of, I don't know if I'm gonna live next week. I'm not thinking about next week. But when you get locked up, and you start to reflect, you start losing loved ones, you start not being able to speak to loved ones when you want to, and you got to ask permission for all things. That's when you start working on your inner self. Through the inner self, you start working on your body. That's why a lot of times when people come out, they come out all cocked.
Let me balance that out too, because most people who is locked up statistically do not come out like that. You know what I'm saying? So again, we making a metaphor for y'all. Like most people who is free are not pursuing their purpose. Some people take a wake-up call, something happens in their life, and they take it seriously and never look back. Some people who are incarcerated take that as a wake-up call and come back. Some people don't. You know what I'm saying? I have one homie that, like, to your point, his mother died while he was locked up. Okay? Now, he was raised by a single mother, so that was his parent. That was his heart. You know what I'm saying? Now, he had to struggle to even get to the funeral. Okay, now here's where my heart goes out. Okay, when you talk about don't wait for something bad to happen, whether it's incarceration, disease, sickness, a fight, a
Right.
relationship breakup, don't wait for that wake up call. He finally got the permission. They almost didn't let him go to his own mother's funeral, much less he could never see her for her last days.
Mm-hmm.
When they did take him, he did get to go there with his little family that was there. Shackles on his hands, shackles on his ankles.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this dude is in prison regalia with shackles on.
Crazy.
At his mother, that's how he was in a state to pay respect to his mom. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's just like, it's not saying, we just saying like, we know people who have taken a bad circumstance, taken lemons and made
Right.
lemonade, but by no
Mm-hmm.
means are we saying wait for that to happen, because it's always better if
Right.
you get the wake up call before it happens. It can get really bad.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say to
Mm-hmm.
that, and that really kind of really brings up this, sums up overall what our message is for tonight. You know, to we the question was, you know, has the quarantine affected you and how so?
Mm-hmm.
That's only a question for you to go within to think and
Right.
reflect, and to you see your vision and see what type of adjustments you had to make, because this is a wake up call moment. At the end
Right.
of the day, this to the world, this was a wake up call moment. And
Mm-hmm.
how are you utilizing this wake up call moment to and to better yourself, better your life, you know what I mean, better your
Right.
family, you know what I mean, see a positive out of this wake up call, because
Right.
every wake up call is a quote unquote negative. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I say quote unquote negative because there's so many different ways we can look about it.
Right. Right.
So it's our wake up call. If this is our wake up call, the message is, yo, so how has it affected you? What did you had to do? What did you have to adjust? Look at that. See your vision of going forward and what you need to do to move forward. Say if you haven't even learned something, take the time to learn it, because guess what? You don't gotta be nowhere right now. So take
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
time to do it. Like me, I'm taking the time to take a financial course. You know what I mean? Out of the
Right.
University of Texas. You know what I
Dope.
mean? Like
Dope.
things of that nature. You know what I mean? I done made like I done taught my daughter how to record in the studio, and she's 6 years old. She's been recording
Mm-hmm.
since 3, but now she
Mm-hmm.
wants to really songwrite already at 6 years old.
Right.
You know what I mean? So now we tackling that. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's so much even more, not to even go on to my own self even, but just
Nah, but we love
researching
it though.
more.
We need that, brother. We need that because we need the levels, man. We need the levels of understanding, right? So you just right now, and you pretty much entailed and detailed what we mean by vision, right? Because you're talking about you taking your own course, right? You spoke about your queen, right? And you speaking about teaching your daughter how to do something at the age of 6, right? This is another part of the building of vision. Because when we
Mm-hmm.
speak vision, especially a person of a family, right, of a tribe, if your vision is being met, but those in your tribe are not, and you're not
Yes.
including them in your vision, then that is also where we're going wrong. And it doesn't, now,
Yes.
when I say, like,
That's
so for
right.
instance, right, if people
Mhm.
are
Sound minds.
sound minds, so if you
Mhm.
talking like, yo, I can do, back in the day, I wasn't able to do, 5 push-ups, and now I could do 500 push-ups in a day. But my child still can't read on the second grade level and they're in high school, then this is where vision needs to be kind of sorted out clearly, right? Because again,
Absolutely.
clear vision, right?
You want to
In
hear
their
Absolutely.
it?
minds, I know this is all about
Oh,
the,
Right.
the
you breaking up, brother.
inside.
You breaking up. You breaking up.
You are this provider, a mother, and I don't care how nice you are and care. I don't you things which you're told to do before, but not building on it. Because if we
Yo, like, you gonna have to stop and
all
re-say
the
that
same
last
thing going
point
before,
because
Light,
your
light,
you know,
light.
divided
connection
the
stopped.
path,
Your
Yo,
connection
light.
stopped for like 5
to
seconds.
kind of
He can't hear us yet.
feel me?
You can't hear us.
Yo, you hearing us?
Disconnection? Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I hear
Like
you.
we was
Yeah, I hear
hearing
you now.
glimpses of it, but we was hearing like a second out of every 3 seconds. So you gonna have to backtrack like a paragraph, like 3
Okay.
sentences.
So
Up there it go. It dropped out now. Yeah, it dropped out. Yep, he was having little technical
We we
difficulties.
we all feel what he was building on though. We all
Yeah,
feel what he
no,
was
we
building on.
definitely
It's like
know his building.
that's one of the reasons people don't take these opportunities and don't have like I was just saying,
we
we
back
know
on
what
it.
you're building on. We back on.
So
Like
I'm
we know what
I'm
you're
a brief
saying, like
synopsis, right? So what I was saying was,
yeah,
if our vision is based off of us as individuals, selfishly,
yes,
then we're missing
yes,
the point of this quarantine. We're missing the point of this restart button, this refresh button. So
right,
what we need to do is make sure that while we are the head of the tribe, whether it be male, female, mother, mother or father, if we are the head
right,
of a tribe and we have a family and we have a tribe that we got to take care of, everybody in
yes,
my tribe needs to be leveling up. So that means
yes,
that if I am able to do things that I wasn't able to do before, but my children can't, or my wife can't, or whatever it is, and I'm not helping them as my
yes,
tribe, then there's a problem with that, right? So when we speak vision, we can't only speak as individuals as much as we are speaking as a united front, as a unison. You know what I'm saying?
and
So
like
right now,
most,
yeah,
just like most short-sighted things that start with selfishness, it ends up being the opposite. It's not even
mm-hmm,
selfish. It's
Right.
it's
mm-hmm,
dumb. It's just
But
dumb once
what?
again, not looking at within, right? Because and I know Pup, you gonna say the same thing because you exemplify this, like everything you're saying exemplify. But real quick example, like if your seeds is about to be able to bring forth fruit that you never did before, you dumb not to see what
right,
they're gonna be capable because that's gonna add on to capabilities you didn't even have. If your outer mind eye is keeping telling you, I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. See the things you're doing with a 6-year old, a 3-year old, a 1-year old, one in the belly, singing into them, speaking positive words to them, even before they come out. What you doing is you're teaching them an approach. Now,
mm-hmm,
my daughter knows, she just made a comment today. She knows I might not do that with music or with this art or with that thing, but I'm going to take that same approach and do it with something else. It might be as an attorney,
Yes.
it might be a thing, but I know how to think the way that we think when we was doing that poem or when we was
Yes.
doing that
right,
computer program. You
Yes.
see?
right,
So you can't be so limited to the outer mind's eye that you say, well, I could do this and we do this in the family. You just telling them, look, I can't even do everything that you're gonna be able to do, baby. But like
mm-hmm,
I'm showing you how to go about things. That there's a necessary struggle, there's a failure, and what happens when you come across these points is boom, you find this research. You ask for support from people. You notice
right,
people that's quick to say that you can't just because you hit a barrier are the people who you don't lean on, and you actually learn not to take them seriously. So they
right,
actually become a great sign if you're on the right track when you hear these people over here tell you you can't do it. It's like, okay, I'm on the
exactly,
right track.
exactly,
Listen, and with that being said, shoot, then I might as well toot the horn and say my tribe has always been getting stronger
mm-hmm,
year after
mm-hmm,
year before
mm-hmm,
this quarantine. But
right,
goddamn, ever since this quarantine hit, we
yeah,
have done nothing but gotten 10 times
right,
stronger
right,
in
and that's
only
what
a
it's all about.
3 month period.
And that's
You
what
know what
it's
I'm
all
saying?
about. And and I gotta honestly speaking, I gotta get shout outs to certain people, man. While I'm here talking about this, right? Shout out one to my cousin David Heredia. He's an artist. He Heredia Designs on IG. And you could herediadesigns.com or whatever, but he made it where he started taking
Dope
entrepreneurs
artist,
and
by the way. I co-sign that.
yeah,
Dope artist.
he's ill and
Meaningful too.
right. And he, so for the most part, he started he was doing a tour with this Heroes of Color book that he put out, right? And
Check that out.
that got shut down. You know what I mean? Shot in the leg. I can't move now because, so right now, what he did was he started like a little, somewhat like the Zoom meeting thing where he was bringing entrepreneurs together to speak upon how they affected, sort of like what we're doing now, right? So there's that. And then there's my man, straight up from Lower East Side, Power. You know what I mean? Power Malu, who used to be with Lyricist Lounge and all that. And Power every single day at 4:30 in the afternoon is out there just going live just to give positive vibes out to people, man. And that's what I'm talking about. So Rashama, when you talking about your vibe your tribe getting stronger, right? That's what we need. We need more of us to sit there and say, yo, you know what? It may be a little time consuming, it may be a little time consumption, but I'm gonna do this as consistent as possible to give more positive vibes to more people. So he'll have people talk about different things, and he'll talk about, yo, virtual hugs, yo, show love. And the funny thing is, well, I watch some of them, and when it starts getting too heavy and deep, just like right now, people start getting shut off, internet starts acting up a little funny, you know what I mean? But keep pushing through, my people. If anything that you get off of this podcast, or for this quarantine, or for this topic, push through. Do not just stay at a level where people are going to throw a little curb at you or a hurdle, and then you just stop at the hurdle. Most hurdles need to get jumped over. When you watch those races, those hurdles are put there for a reason, for you to jump over to see how much you really want it. So shout out to them, man, and shout out to us. We out here doing this because we want more people to be empowered. We want to enlighten and empower and make us more powerful as a people, not to sit back and say, yo, I could be doing something else. You know what I mean?
Yo,
so shout out to SoundMinds.
Segment to Power too. That's another brother you should bring on. Empower, bring power, see power. Last time I seen that brother, I was rocking with Master Ace with Tang Sauce, SoundMinds. You know what I mean? Tang Sauce and me had a church with Master Ace. Power was rocking with Master Ace. This is a dude that does what we do. Another example of hip hop also being out there, and he's always doing fundraisers for Puerto Rico and all kinds of other activist causes. You know what I'm saying? So for those of us who like Pup was saying, like I had already started going like, okay, I'm gonna be more vegan. I'm gonna read more about health. I'm gonna get more on my fasting. Like, it's dope how these things could just step it up a little bit.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of making us look like, oh well, I already did this and that. Because honestly, you know, me and Pup, bro. All these people that's on Zoom now, me and Pup was. I'm not gonna speak for you. Tell me if I'm wrong, okay? I'm gonna speak for me. I was like, we've been on Zoom for like 2 years. Y'all getting on Zoom now? When I was on Zoom, y'all was talking about what's this Zoom thing? Well, how come you don't use Skype this and that?
That's exactly what they said. They said, what's this Zoom thing? I ain't downloading no Zoom
thing. We were
thing.
the weirdos, right?
We the weirdos,
right? What's this PayPal? What's this Venmo? How you getting your money now? What's this Cash App?
And you know what that is, right?
What's this crypto? What's this crypto?
I just got 2 more payments to crypto. You know what I'm saying?
And what that is Bruce Lee, man, and I say it to everybody. Bruce Lee said, be the water. Doesn't matter if you're in a cup, if you're in a bottle, if you're in a vase, you become what is that consumes you, kind of, right? So you be the water, you're fluid. So no matter what the situation is, so right now, Zoom and other things, and this is not no plug, man, because we ain't getting money off of Zoom and but these are the ways now that looking towards the future, we should start saying, damn, how can I now make money virtually? Because it seems like there may be a distance issue. I may not be able to shake hands no more. I may not be able to be in meetings with more than a couple of people in one room. Learn to use your environment, right? You know what I mean? Learn to use your environment and figure out the chess pieces to say, okay, cool, here's my pawns, but here come the bishop and here come the rook. And let me make sure that I line up my soldiers and my mental plans and my vision so that whatever the situation is, I'll be able to build stronger and build more of a unit rather than, nah, I'm just going to take that and I'm just going to stay quarantined and sit in my drawers all day and not do nothing for self or for family.
Right.
Wow. You know what? I think we like man, we hit the nail on the head with the point. You know, driving home
Hmm.
that point and motivating the people that that watch this podcast and listen to this
Right.
podcast. You know, I hope you feel motivated right now. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that share. Make sure you hit that subscribe. You know what I mean? This is our third episode, and we're going to continue to keep on going, and we want to grow this, and we want to grow a Sound Minds family, a Sound Minds army out here. You know what I mean? A
Hmm.
Sound
Hmm.
Minds
Actually,
nation.
we wanna challenge y'all to
A
do
sound.
things that we can't even do. Like speaking
Yes.
of vision, while you looking at this is a whole hour show, and a lot of people only look at 30-second clips or 1 minute YouTube videos nowadays. We doing a whole hour to 90 minutes sometimes. So what you could do that we can't do is using your vision. When you go through this podcast again, if you could pick out just 30 seconds to a minute of what you think is the best 30 seconds to the minute. If you like, you know what, they was talking for an hour, but this 30 seconds right here, this minute right here is what
Hmm.
everyone needs to say. We challenge y'all to take a clip of this. You don't have to pay us license, whatever. Just take a clip of this, post it on YouTube or Instagram, Facebook, whatever, tag us in it, and we will repost your best vision of our show. If you could encapsulate what did we say, just take any 30-second to 1 minute clip of this and go ahead and repost it. Or if you do a feedback reply to our video too, we will repost that as well. We want to see your vision from your perspective, which we can't see alone.
Right. And tag us. Tag us. We here. So a couple of ways.
Yes.
There is our email address, soundminds98 at gmail.com.
Mic check. Mike,
We
hold
have
up. One check. Self suffice. Can you give the email that you created on your server?
Yes, it's actually simply SoundMinds at
okay.
rappoets.com.
Yes,
And that's
please.
with one P.
Yes.
SoundMinds at rappoets.com. So it's literally what you see on the screen now. SoundMinds at RAPOETS.com.
Okay.
All one word. No
Okay.
capitals, no nothing. Just straight
That's
all
that.
together.
Now
No cap.
that is our direct personal email. You know what I mean? Like so,
Mhm.
this is not coming off of the YouTube. You know what I mean? This is for them.
Right.
This
Right.
is for you,
That's
you
our
to have a
direct one.
direct connection to the to us. You know, SoundMinds at rappoets.com is definitely where you can hit
Okay.
us direct.
And you could
Yes, sir.
also on Facebook, we have a Facebook page. It
Yeah.
is Sound Minds Hip Hop at
Ooh.
Facebook. That is the page. Go in there, like that. You'll get all the updates that we're doing. Um, we are also, for the most part, working
If
on
they
this
want to type
website.
that directly, like, is that do they if they type in facebook.com/soundminds hip hop one word,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. It's go
And it'll
straight
go.
through. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
It goes straight through. Tell your friends. I always hashtag, tell a friend to tell 10. If there's 10 people that are hearing this, 10 more, and keep those numbers growing. And this is
Yeah, we
not
loving
about
the
likes.
numbers, yo.
Yeah, we're not necessarily doing this for likes. We're not doing this to get any type of chips on our arms. This is because we want to empower. The more people
Yes.
we get to speak to, the more people we get to build with, the more we get to empower and strengthen. You know what I mean? And
We
and for the
so
most part,
grateful that y'all
build a
been
stronger
sharing it.
foundation.
The fact when
Right,
you see y'all sharing our videos, it means everything because that's what lets us know you have value, and we want to return that to you. That's another reason
right,
why we saying that this whole constellation, like sharing your 30-second and 1 minute clips of the show today. We want to repost for your channel and say thank you to you. You know what I mean? So when we repost,
right.
people see
And
who's
with that being
actually.
said,
Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say with that being said, like in the beginning we were saying, we are going to roll out giveaways. We are going to roll out challenges. We are going to roll out. We want you guys to be engaged with us. We are also working on this on the Sound Minds website. So that's going to come. That's going to be rolled out. We just rolled out the logo, and I definitely feel like all of y'all need to see the logo. With the brain with the brain waves spelling out Sound Minds. Like, come on, now we on a different level. Not from anyone else, and we're not trying to challenge. If we need to, we'll definitely challenge. But what I'm saying is we're trying to build together. So with that being said, websites, emails, Facebook pages, IG, get at us individually. Send whatever information, and we're gonna start. We're gonna start. Oh, there, go right there, gorgeous.
Woo!
We are all. We are also going to start different segments of this podcast show, which is gonna bring forth music, which is gonna bring forth art, and have
That joint
everybody kind of
glossy.
engaged and joining us in these podcasts. Yeah, it's pretty.
Yo,
It's
look at the
pretty.
brain, look at the wave, look at the S, the M, the sound, the minds. That joint glossy, right? That joint
Champ
clean
Mons.
too.
Hey, and
Yo,
all,
yo,
and as we build this,
go
and
ahead.
as we build this family, we build this community of
Yes.
like-minded. Okay, sound minds is also, it's a harmony. You feel me? It's a
Yes.
harmony of frequencies. You know what I mean? That's connected into your brain. Okay,
See, you
this is
see the
what you.
frequency right there.
Yes, you know what I mean. I want you to understand that you hold up. We got more comments. Level up. Look at that. Yeah, level up.
Salute,
Level up. Keep sharing the wisdom and enlightening others, and
salute,
that's what it is.
Ackroyd.
It's
Thank you,
connecting.
thank you,
It's connecting with
thank you.
with family like this. You understand? Like this is what we're building. You know what I mean? And you gotta get used to saying
Word.
sound minds. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
When
yeah.
you see this logo, look, when we close out the show, we gonna say,
Mm-hmm.
hey, we out. Sound minds. Sound
Mm-hmm.
Salute.
minds. When we say
Mm-hmm.
sound minds, y'all say
You say
sound
that. Yep.
minds.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
When we
Call and
say
response.
sound
That's how we
Yo,
get
minds,
stronger.
yo,
y'all
hold
say
up. See,
sound minds.
keep that on the screen because Light, when I was working on the revisions and we've been revising this for a while. Let's not even say how long we've been revising it. We was getting to the tail end. Light was like, yo, Kai, there's an I right there. The O and the O in sound and the I in minds. You put that
Mm-hmm.
together, not only does it form an I, that's like the I. That's an important part to the inner mind's eye.
Right.
Now, a lot of people are never gonna get that part. But
Mm-hmm.
this is the episode 3 of Vision, and we just happen to have our new logo. For those watching this call, when you look at this logo, I want you to look at that circle over the I. Okay?
Right.
That's the balance. It's black and red, both colors coming together. It's yin and yang.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 0 and a 1. It's the circle and the line. That's the
Mhm.
whole balance there. That
And
light
it's the
is
head
able
and the
to
body.
bring that together.
It's the
That
head
head and
and the
the
body.
body right there.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like sound, mind, the mental, right, and the head. Sound, the environment, the ripples created from sound mind leading to sound body. So that's too deep for the most people to get and for us to explain every time. But it's good we take a second on this episode to let you see, like, even that come together. I want to say on that similar note, this wasn't about your external vision being bad, because I know we reference that a lot, right? Facts.
Right.
It's not about the external vision being bad. It's that so often we talk about vision, we just stress the external and don't talk about the inner mind's eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is when your mind is sound, then obviously you taking care of your physical around. Well, maybe it's not obvious, but that's what we're saying. We taking care of our logo, our friendships, our family. We starting here and balancing it out. That's all. We're not saying we hate material world or family or we're only in our heads. You see what I'm saying? Because like take hip hop for example. Light gives us the set of objectives every week and we go through and pick what's our priority, right? He already had vision on it, right? We happen to all agree on vision. Turns out this is hip hop appreciation week for the year. Once a year,
Mm-hmm.
there's an official hip hop appreciation through the Temple of Hip Hop. Shout out to Minister Server, KRS1, everybody, Z Santiago, you know what I'm saying? Trinity Temple of Hip Hop, everybody. What is it posted on their website for this week as a theme? Vision. That's
Mm-hmm.
why we saying getting clear on your inner vision so you
Right.
can get clear on what is out here. Not to just be a revolutionary to what you seeing around here and rebel against everything. No, that's not what we're saying. We're saying get clear on here so you can appreciate what's out here more.
Right.
A
Right.
lot of people
A
don't want to
thousand
be
percent.
optimists or they don't want to be fake or whatever. They fail to release by being overly pessimistic. You're being unrealistic. You're missing out on things that are really out here. That's why we're saying get in your meditation, get in your inner mind's eye, so you can see what's actually here that you keep ignoring, bro. That's
Right.
all.
So yeah, so with that being said, we are the hour in, 9 minutes over. We thank all of y'all for listening.
Down
Everybody
nine.
who shared what they shared. We want y'all to please share this video, share the page, share the channel, get your people involved, share the Facebook page, get involved, y'all. We want y'all to be as engaged with us as we are trying to engage y'all and trying to keep that empowerment and that mental, stimulation going at all times. We are artists as well. We do this with our music, with our art. This is not just for the podcast. We do this for real. This is not just us playing a part. You know what I mean? Sound Minds is really Sound Minds. As you are with Sound Minds make sound decisions, y'all. So please remember that at all times. Thank y'all very much. I am LiteSkin. Once again, LiteSkin stands for living it through every situation on nature. Real LiteSkin 123 and on IG. Check the Facebook page. Check the YouTube page. I thank y'all very much, my brothers.
Like, what is your track of the week?
We're gonna get into that. That's one of the segments that we're gonna get into.
Your track, not the track you listening to. What track that you put out can people go listen to this week that you recommend them to listen to?
Okay, so right now on all major streaming sites, there is Take a Stand, Let It Go. There's I Spit. But I am currently working on a track.
Hold up. This one, just give me one.
Oh, okay, my fault. I Spit. I Spit.
Okay, I Spit is the track, is LiteSkin's track of the week. You already heard from me. I'm gonna let Pup end it. My track of the week is Knowledge, Wealth, God. That's featuring Isidore and Supreme Allah Magnetic. Self-Suffice, Knowledge, Wealth, God on those streaming platforms.
Dope.
And I am King Ra. My track of the week. Go stream it on all streaming platforms. It's godlike. Godlike.
Word.
We taking back control, and that's exactly what position that we are in right now. Tap into
What's
your
the
godlike
artist name?
abilities.
What's the artist name to search for?
PUP. Pain United with Passion. Just type in PUP.
PUP Godlike on all platforms. Tidal, Spotify, Apple.
Yes.
And
Yo,
with
we
that
out here,
being
y'all.
said, we out. Sound Minds.
Sound Minds.
So we can report some Sound Minds.
Sound Minds.